local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The city of Lincoln has spent the last year building up its new tourism department and working to grow local economic development. Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch indicates that earlier this year, they purchased a building that is intended to house a Route 66 train exhibit, another piece of the new Route 66 focused direction the city is taking with its tourism. In the lower level will be what the mayor calls an economic development incubator.
Yeah, if you remember, I think we've talked that we bought a building in downtown Lincoln. It was the old State Bank building, and it's being used for multiple purposes. The primary purpose was our museum that we're building to get ready for Route 66 next year. And we've actually officially named it the Museum of Route 66. It's pretty generic, but it's simple. We also have some administrative offices. My assistant has been moved down into that building. We got a lot of stuff going on, and I want somebody down there representing the city that can help keep things moving along. Also, part of that building was a economic development incubator, and been doing a lot of work in that space, getting office spaces ready for some of our partners to come in there. There's a conference room in the back that they can use, but I think there's going to be an interest in the community for other people to use it for affordable meeting space and stuff like that. So we've been hitting the ground running for quite a while here.
While Mayor Welch wants the city to be represented in this new building, he says they have no intention to use the facility as a second city hall. He feels that it is valuable to have someone close by.
We still have everybody at City Hall except for my administrative assistant. So we have no intention of moving city operations down to that building. Number one, because we want to make sure that the City Hall building continues to operate as such. But also the clerk's office is down there, the treasurer's down there, my office is down there. And so I think those roles need to stay in that building. Our fire department operates out of the second floor of that building as well. This is really more of additional space, and I want to make sure there's city people down there. So like right now, the museum's being built. Well, our director is not down there every day. And there's things that we got to make sure keep moving along. That person down there is also renting out the depot now. So the city council passed a lease agreement, and the depot, we spent a lot of time getting it ready, banquet tables, chairs, and we actually had tenants in there renting the space a couple weeks ago for a luncheon for the women's club. And my assistant down there is close to that building being there, and she's managing all of that as well. So I just want somebody close to the operations.
For the museum portion of the building, the mayor states that it will be the host of an exhibit given to the city by a donor from Chicago. He says the city now has possession of the exhibit and it is in the process of being set up.
Yeah, so this all started with the acquiring of a Route 66 themed train exhibit that was owned by John and Darlene Rue from Chicago. The Rues built this exhibit in their basement. And the idea is if you can't travel Route 66, you can come see the exhibit. And on a very small scale, it gives you the experience of traveling all of Route 66 all the way to Santa Monica Pier. And so they've done a remarkable job. Well, they donated that to the city of Lincoln. And as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, some of our team went up there and we're now in possession of it. And so the phase we're in now, because we've done a lot of tear out, the the tourism director and his team, have done a lot of tear out in that building. Now we're getting ready to have people come in, construct walls, construct platforms for the train exhibit. One of the cool things that our director was able to do also is, if you've ever been to Shields in Springfield, and you've seen the animated version of Abraham Lincoln doing the Gettysburg Address, well, they donated that to the city museum as well. So our director's working on getting that ready to be themed for the museum. We've just had a lot of people that want to be a part of it. We've got a lot of donations for it, and it's moving along quickly, but it'll be, we're going to make sure it's ready by April.
The mayor reiterates the city's commitment to having the museum ready and open to the public by April of 2026. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, U of I Extension to host Landowners series in 2026. Superintendents in Illinois are reacting to impending cuts from the state of Illinois to categories such as transportation and school meals. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, explains that they do not heavily rely on state dollars in her district, so cuts to essential categories will not greatly affect them. This is because the school and community have a small population, so they do not receive much in the way of state or federal funding anyway.
For us, we are not heavily reliant on state or federal funding. Just again, because of our small population, we don't get a large dollar amount from the state or the feds through grant money. So our main source of revenue is from our local property taxes. So do we use the money that we get through grants? Absolutely. Will our building close? Will our district close if we don't get that money? No, we won't. We just might not be able to do some of the things that we have done. And so, just that future forecasting, what we have done over the last 2-3 years, we have updated all of our infrastructure as far as our network, our wiring. We've replaced all teacher computers. Some of our teacher computers were 15 years old. So, in this day and age, as we are also saying, hey, be prepared, we might go to a remote or e-learning day. We weren't providing our staff with the tools that they needed for that. So we have really tried to use those grant funds in order to update and replace some of the outdated equipment that our students and staff are using, just in case years down the road we don't get that funding. We have a plan in place now to make sure that all stays up to date.
A concern for many district leaders is cuts to transportation dollars, which go towards funding bus services in combination with inflation driving costs through the roof. Vogt says while this is a struggle, it isn't a new one for her district.
It has impacted us for years, actually. Every year that I've been here, we've had to move money from our working cash to transportation because we don't get the dollars in the fiscal year that we are supposed to get them. So, it's not a new worry for me because we just have not been fully funded in transportation the way that our budget hopes for. So interestingly, we contract our bus services. And so by contracting the bus services, there is an agreement made each year as far as how much money we will pay for those services and then what that includes. So it's, our daily bus routes, any routes that need to happen for special education students going to offsite programming, and then again, those extracurriculars. So by contracting bus services, to a certain extent, I know this is how much I'm going to pay because I agreed to that in the contract. But then for extracurriculars that involve athletics, we co-op our athletics. And so between us and our co-op districts, then we agree on what costs each district will participate, depending on the grade level and the activity.
Okay.
So some of those, the extracurricular events such as like band going to, a regional contest, et cetera, those are all 100% my cost that we're able to predict. But then those athletic extracurricular costs, it's broken down. Some are solely our responsibility, some are solely the responsibility of the other district, and then some we share.
Vote feels that the district is somewhat insulated from these cuts because it was already not receiving much funding. She says being able to plan ahead has set them up to be ready for any lack of funding.
Yes, simply because we have known, again, each year we know we're not going to get the transportation funds that we should be getting. And we have known that there are going to be cuts. And so just planning ahead for that and, just having the money in reserves so that it does not create a situation where, we would have to cut programs or staffing right away.
I got you.
Some districts have to think about that. Where are they going to cut programs and staffing in order to stay open?
While Bement School District does not have to worry much about cuts to mandated categoricals, Vote feels for the struggle that other districts may face, especially those that rely more on state and federal funding. Learn more about all things Bement schools by visiting bement.k12.il.us. You can also follow along on their Facebook page. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
News time is 22 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. According to a study from the Illinois FBFM Association and Department of Ag and Consumer Economics, roughly 75% of commercial farmland in Illinois is leased out. Reagan Tibbs, commercial ag educator with the University of Illinois Extension in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, explains that they are teaming up with the Illinois Farm Bureau to host a Landowners series in 3 locations across the state. He says the goal is to provide landowners with the most up-to-date information.
Another exciting thing that we're working on that I've been very happy to be involved in the planning process of is a landowner series. Last couple of years, there's been one of these. I believe in 2023, it was in Peoria. 2024 is in the LaSalle, Peru area. This year, we've in partnership with the Illinois Farm Bureau, which we're really excited about. We're expanding it to now 3 locations across the state starting in March. So there's going to be a meeting in March, one in kind of end of June, beginning of July, and then one at the end of August after Illinois State Fair. So we're really excited about that. And the purpose of these meetings is really to provide opportunities for landowners to hear kind of about some of the latest information to help guide their decisions and working with their tenants, but also to, how do you have those conversations with your tenants? How do you build that relationship and that rapport, especially knowing that there are a lot of absentee landowners here in Illinois. So folks that might live in Arizona, Florida, somewhere else, somewhere warmer, especially this time of year. How do you have those conversations? How do you work with your producers? How do you build that relationship, that trust, that rapport? So like I said, we're really excited to work with Illinois Farm Bureau on this. And again, starting, expanding from 1 location to now having 3 locations across the state. Really, really excited to expand that outreach and that access to folks across the state.
The series will start in Champaign in March at the I Hotel. Tibbs says while they do not have a venue set for the early summer session, it will likely be in the LaSalle, Peru area, with the final session taking place in Mount Vernon in August. Each session's topics and information will be tailored to the landowners in the region.
Yeah, so our one in March is going to be in Champaign over at the I Hotel, just right outside of campus. The one in June, July is going to be somewhere up north. I'm not sure. We haven't set a specific date for or specific location for it yet, but it'll be somewhere kind of in that LaSalle, Peru general area. Then the one in August after Illinois State Fair will be in Mount Vernon.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that. Again, getting to all those three, our north, central, and southern parts of the states. And each one has a different dynamic when it comes to land ownership, land tenure. So we're looking forward to having those conversations out. Obviously with Southern Illinois, kind of the landscape around Southern Illinois is a little bit different. Crop production, they still have crop production, but it isn't as in demand as it is here in central and as in northern Illinois. So really looking forward to having those opportunities, those discussions with landowners, and hopefully we can get some tenants there as well. It's again, how do you have those conversations between landowners and tenants? You have to think about where you're at kind of in the state. Obviously there's some generalities you can make between here in central Illinois versus up to the Wisconsin border all the way down to Cairo. But when you're giving a presentation to local audiences, you really have to think about what is the local audience like, what's the demographic like, what is their ag production, are they row crop heavy, are they livestock heavy, if so, what type of livestock is most prevalent. So really kind of understanding your local dynamic, your local demographics to kind of tailor that to make sure you're giving them the most relevant information possible.
As we enter the thick of the winter ag meeting season, Tibb says you can follow along with their calendar at extension.illinois.edu. You can also keep up through their social media pages. The first formal joint review of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is set for next July, and it's something Illinois Corn Executive Director Rodney Weinzierl will be following.
So Mexico especially is the biggest market of corn and corn co-products in the world, and has been the last several years, and probably will continue to be not only the biggest raw corn demand, but a tremendous amount of meat from the U.S. flows into Mexico, and that's why we work with the Meat Export Federation. A lot of distiller dried grains and solubles move in. Not too much on the ethanol front yet. That's an area we're working, but Canada, the third partner of USMCA, is the largest ethanol customer for the U.S. In the world. And so USMCA is just so important, being our number one corn and all corn products in the world, with Mexico and Canada being the largest ethanol buyer.
The USMCA came online in July of 2020. Winter meeting season is ramping up. The Everything Local Conference is set for January 28th through the 30th at the Bank of Springfield Center.
We are in year 4 of From Food to Flowers, Everything Local. As you mentioned, it's going to be our second year at the Bank of Springfield Center. And I don't think any of us knew this conference was going to be what it is today. And it's pretty special for those that attend it and what they bring to this, because that's the only reason this is successful. But here's the thing. This is a conference for everyone. It is not just for fruits and vegetable growers. It's not just for small farmers. This is about building a sustainable business model, diversifying your revenue streams, talking about regulatory affairs, engaging with state, local, federal agencies, engaging with nonprofits and partners and other associations. We work really, really hard to bring something that's relevant to any type of farm business or nonprofit or those working in regional food system development. So we have over 100 educational sessions ranging from, yes, tree fruit production to regulatory affairs to how to build a community development. We have a trade show that ranges anywhere from 60 to 100 exhibitors in a given year. And this year we're bringing in curbside consulting. So if for some reason nothing feels relevant to you as a member, you are able to go and sit with a consultant for 30 minutes up to 2 times. So basically you get an hour of free consulting from almost 40 consultants around the state as first come, first serve. Some are across from coming in from out of state. This is marketing, writing a business plan, applying for loans, doing all of that stuff right there, how to build a website. So the idea is that those consultants can really help you with your business and give you technical assistance if for some reason the breakout sessions don't fit.
Register at specialtygrowers.org. Again, that conference is set for January 28th through the 30th at the Bank of Springfield Center. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. It's all free all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The Trump administration giving a green light to microchip maker NVIDIA to sell advanced AI chips to China. The move is an about-face amid national security concerns, although President Trump says national security will be safeguarded with the H200 chips from NVIDIA being sold to pre-approved customers in China. The president will address the affordability issue when he visits Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania later today. He says his economic program is starting to work with inflation way down. Later today, the Fed policymakers will open a 2-day meeting at which they're expected to announce a 1/4-point interest rate cut.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local news update. While the season of holiday joy is here, it can also bring a lot of financial stress. Connie Miller with the DeWitt Savings Bank indicates that many Americans take on debt during this season to fulfill their loved ones' holiday wishes. She says overspending on presents or decorations can cost you in the long run.
Well, I just saw 2 different reports on TV. One was that 50% of Americans will go into debt this year for Christmas.
Wow.
So another one said 75% of credit card holders will go into debt. So we'll see, somewhere in there lies the truth. But we don't have to be a statistic like that. A lot of people feel guilt. They want their kids to have the best Christmas ever. And that can be a recipe for disaster. The best Christmas ever does not mean that you have to get the most expensive Christmas gifts, do everything Christmassy and just break the bank. I always approach it with a budget. And some people hate the word budget, sounds restrictive. So how about a spending plan? And a lot of times we may come up with a spending plan for our Christmas gifts. Like, this is how much I want to spend on each person. But there's so many other things involved in Christmas. We have our Christmas meal, we have Christmas travel, we have Christmas events, and it can get overwhelming. So one of the things we do in our house is, of course, we budget for how much we want to spend on each kid. And then we also look at what are we going to do for Christmas dinner? Do we want to do a really expensive fancy dinner? A lot of times the alcohol can be a big expense. Maybe asking people to help out with dinner or bring some wine or a case of beer or some hors d'oeuvres, things like that to bring the budget down.
Keeping a record of the gifts each of your loved ones is receiving from you is a great way to not overbuy and plan for how much you want to spend. Homemade or DIY gifts are also a great way to give a memorable gift, as long as the materials don't get too expensive. According to Miller, Christmas decor is another expensive item to avoid. While fresh trees are great for bringing holiday smells to your home, a reusable tree will keep you from buying a new one each year. While crafting and making your own gifts or decor can be intimidating, the internet is always your friend when it comes to tutorials and instructions. We'll have more with Miller in the days ahead from the Hart Media Group on thrift stores and the hidden gems you can find in them. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
On your own, it's tough to influence policy, but when you're an Illinois Farm Bureau member, you're part of something bigger. Illinois Farm Bureau and McLean County Farm Bureaus bring farmers and ag professionals together to speak with one clear voice, and that voice is heard locally in Springfield and in Washington. It's how local concerns turn into statewide priorities. That's impact advocacy. That's your Illinois Farm Bureau advantage. Learn more at ilfb.org/advantage.
A good day to all our listeners tuned in to Regional Radio. I'm Seth Lawrence reporting from the Illinois Farm Bureau annual meeting in Chicago, brought to you this year by the Illinois Farm Bureau. Follow ag news, markets, and weather 24/7 on farmweeknow.com, powered by Farm Week and RFD Radio Network. All ag, all Illinois, all you need, and by the Illinois Corn Marketing Board, increasing the profitability of corn production by developing and maintaining markets for corn and corn products.
Some question our use of pesticides, but we know that today's farmers use fewer pesticides and more careful methods to protect the food and the farm. Farmers only apply what's truly necessary to protect crops from insects, weeds, and diseases. No more, no less. Farmers are dedicated to using crop protection responsibly to protect our food and their farms. Learn how the Illinois Corn Checkoff builds understanding of agriculture at www.ilcorn.org.
We're visiting with David Fulton with the McLean County Farm Bureau Young Leaders. And David, first of all, good to catch up with you, my friend. How are you?
Hey, good, Seth. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Thanks for making time for us here at annual meeting in Chicago. And how has meeting treated you and yours? I know you've got some family up with you. It's got to be nice to be in Chicago around Christmas time.
Yeah, it's been excellent. I'm here with my wife and my youngest child, John Roger, and my in-laws are here as well.
Oh, there you go. Very good. So it's a family affair for the Fultons. And we were catching up about young leaders. And, you know, that you mentioned to me, young leaders was kind of how you got your start with the Farm Bureau, right?
Yeah, so Young Leaders has been a great stepping stone for us to get into our Farm Bureau career. My wife was on the state Young Leader Committee, started at the county level in McLean County, and we're kind of rounding out that career with Young Leaders, but that's no time like the present to do that. And tried to go through discussion meet this year, had a great time doing that, learned a lot, and maybe come back next year to do that.
Well, let's start with, folks hear the term Young Leaders in Farm Bureau. Maybe some know what it is, some don't. What is Young Leaders within Farm Bureau?
Young Leaders is going to be that Farm Bureau member under 35 years of age. So we have that collegiate level that you can go through the ranks, if you will, at a college age. And then once you get out of college, you can really get into Young Leaders until you're 35.
Gotcha. And you mentioned the discussion meet. What's the discussion meet?
Discussion meets really visiting on these hot topics that revolve around the organization, whether it's in-field, production ag, or things that concern the organization as a whole. Okay. And you have a discussion similar to a committee meeting with your fellow peers within the organization.
That's all for now from Chicago, from the 2025 Illinois Farm Bureau annual meeting, right here on Regional Radio, brought to you by the Illinois Corn Marketing Board, increasing the profitability of corn production by developing and maintaining markets for corn and corn products, and the Illinois Farm Bureau. Follow ag news, markets, and weather 24/7 on farmweeknow.com. Powered by Farm Week and RFD Radio Network. All ag, all Illinois, all you need.
The Macon County Farm Bureau is where membership means value by offering member benefit discounts for members. Shop their Amenity Member Benefits app on your smartphone that gives you access to discounts on lots of holiday gifts like food boxes and even winter travel packages. Or use it for yourself for winter tires, cold weather clothes, and a variety of health and wellness benefits to improve your mental and physical health. Find out more at maconcfb.org. That's maconcfb.org, or call the office at 877-2436. That's 877-2436. The Macon County Farm Bureau is where membership means value.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. A mix of clouds and sun today with a high of 39. Southwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of rain showers tonight 34. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Slight chance for rain showers mixing with and changing to snow. Highs level off around 38. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 32.